What if the thing holding you back isn't fear of failure, but fear of becoming everything you've ever dreamed of? Think about it. What would happen if you finally stepped into your full potential? No excuses, no hesitation. Scary, right? Not because you're weak, but because deep down, you know you're powerful. Too powerful. And maybe, just maybe, that truth terrifies you more than anything else ever could. Let's talk about why. 1. What if your biggest fear is your own greatness? What if the real fear isn't falling short, but rising so high you no longer recognize yourself? What if the scariest thing about chasing your dream isn't the risk of failing, but the moment you realize you might actually succeed? See, failure is easy. It's familiar. It gives us something to blame: bad timing, not enough money, other people, the economy, even fate. Failure lets us off the hook. It says, at least you tried. But success? That's something different. Success means responsibility. Success means change. Success means letting go of the version of you that's been playing it safe. And let's be honest, comfort is addictive. It's easy to stay in the job that drains you. It's easy to keep saying someday. It's easy to scroll, distract, procrastinate, and pretend like the dream wasn't really that important. You tell yourself stories. I'm not ready. It's too late. What if people laugh? But deep down, you know that's not the truth. The truth is, you felt it before. That flicker of fire in your chest. That flash of vision you had for your life, the book you'd write, the business you'd launch, the courage to finally walk away from things that don't serve you. It's all still there, quietly waiting for permission to breathe. But the second the dream becomes real, the fear rushes in. Because if you actually are powerful, if you actually can create the life you want, then everything changes. You can no longer blame the world. You can no longer play small. You have to show up. And showing up? That's terrifying. It means being seen. It means being vulnerable. It means risking love, rejection, failure, success, and the truth of who you really are. But here's what most people never realize. The fear you feel isn't a warning. It's a signal. It's not saying stop. It's saying this matters. The most dangerous thing isn't fear. The most dangerous thing is ignoring what that fear is trying to teach you. Because behind the fear of your own greatness is everything you've been looking for: purpose, impact, freedom, joy. You were never afraid of failing. You were afraid of becoming. 2. You are the author of your life. If fear is the signal that something matters, then what you do next is the real story. Here's the truth most people never stop to fully grasp. You are the creator of your experience. Not your boss. Not your parents. Not your past. You. Every thought you choose to dwell on, every belief you carry, every quiet decision you make in the background of your daily life, those are the brushstrokes painting the picture of your future. Most people go through life reacting. Reacting to emails. Reacting to bills. Reacting to expectations. But what if instead of reacting, you started designing? Your thoughts are not random. They are tools. Your feelings are not distractions. They are signals. Your imagination isn't childish. It's your blueprint. Everything around you, from the car you drive to the building you work in, once lived in someone's imagination. Someone dared to see it first in their mind before it existed in the world. So why would your dream be any different? But here's where people get stuck. They wait. They wait for motivation. They wait for the perfect time. They wait until they feel ready. But creation doesn't come from waiting. It comes from choosing. Choosing to think deliberately. Choosing to see possibilities instead of limitations. Choosing to take one small action today, even when you're scared, even when you're tired, even when you have no idea how it's going to work. Because you don't have to know the whole path. You only have to take the next step. Your mind is more powerful than every computer in the world combined. But most people use that power to play out worst-case scenarios and self-doubt instead of building their best life. You weren't born to survive your circumstances. You were born to shape them. So take this in. If you can imagine failure, you can imagine success. If you can imagine being stuck, you can imagine being free. If you can imagine being small, you can imagine being limitless. Creation is not something reserved for artists or inventors or billionaires. It's your birthright as a human being with a mind, a heart, and a soul. You are not just a player in the game, you're the one writing the rules. And every day you wait to take control, you're letting someone else write your story for you. So ask yourself, what kind of life do you want to look back on? One that you watched happen or one that you created? 3. The inner shift. Once you realize you're the author of your life, everything changes. But here's the catch. You can't write a new story with the same old mindset. Transformation doesn't begin in the external world. It starts quietly deep inside. That's the inner shift. It's not flashy. It's not loud. Sometimes no one else even notices. But you do. It's the moment you stop asking, what if it doesn't work? And start asking, what if it does? It's the moment you realize you've been living by default, not by design. The job you said yes to out of fear. The relationship you stayed in out of comfort. The version of yourself you've been protecting because it felt safe even when it wasn't fulfilling. Here's the truth most people don't want to face. Growth requires loss. Not always of people or things, but of identity. You have to let go of the version of you that was okay with playing small. The version that needed permission. The version that said, maybe later. Because you can't become your future self while clinging to your past thinking. That's what the inner shift really is. It's not just about setting goals. It's about changing the lens through which you see yourself. You stop identifying as the struggler and start identifying as the builder. You stop seeing yourself as behind and realize you're right on time. You stop blaming life and begin leading it. And no, this doesn't mean pretending everything's perfect. This isn't toxic positivity. This is radical ownership. It's saying, even if I didn't choose my past, I choose my next move. And that choice, repeated with intention, creates momentum. Not all at once, but day by day, thought by thought, decision by decision. It's like realigning your internal compass not toward fear, but toward freedom. Because fear isn't the enemy. Fear is just feedback. It means you're stretching. It means you're about to evolve. So the next time that voice inside says, "Who do you think you are?" answer it clearly. I'm someone who decided to wake up. Because the truth is, nothing on the outside can shift until you do. Not your job. Not your bank account. Not your relationship. Not your dream. The world responds not to what you wish for, but to what you embody. And when you start showing up differently, life has no choice but to meet you there. 4. The challenge to awaken. Waking up isn't comfortable. When you make the inner shift, when you stop living from fear and start choosing from truth, life doesn't instantly get easier. It gets real. Because now, you can't unsee what you've seen. You can't unknow your own potential. You can't go back to pretending that this is fine when you know it isn't. That's the challenge. Now that you're awake, will you stay awake? Most people don't. They touch clarity for a moment, a quiet morning, a late night realization, a spark of vision, and then shrink back. They feel the pull to grow, to build, to become, but the weight of old habits drags them down. Why? Because real growth costs something. It costs the comfort of blaming others. It costs the luxury of waiting. It costs the illusion of certainty. But here's what it gives you. Power. Not power over others. Not fake confidence or ego. But power within. The kind that says, I may not control everything, but I will control how I show up. I may not be there yet, but I am no longer standing still. I will not abandon myself anymore. This is the awakening most never choose. Because once you admit you're the creator of your life, there's no one left to rescue you. But what if that's the best news you've ever heard? What if no one's coming to save you because you're already enough to save yourself? Your courage won't always roar. Sometimes it will whisper. Take the next step. Speak the truth. Say no to what no longer fits. And that's the real challenge, consistency in awakening. Not just in the highs, but in the mundane. In the email you finally send. in the boundary you finally hold, in the plan you stop just thinking about and start acting on. Because awakening isn't a moment. It's a lifestyle. It's choosing over and over again to live wide open eyes, heart, and mind. To rise even when it's inconvenient. To grow even when it's lonely. To believe even when the results haven't shown up yet. This is the quiet bravery of becoming. And it's the hardest thing you'll ever do. But also the most meaningful. Because once you awaken to your power, once you meet the version of yourself who never gave up, you'll realize there was never anything missing. You just had to remember who you really are. 5. You already hold the answer. So here you are. Awake. No longer sleepwalking through a life that never truly fit. No longer pretending not to hear the voice inside you whispering, "There's more." You've faced the fear. You've made the inner shift. You've accepted the challenge to rise. And now, one truth remains simple, undeniable. The answer you've been searching for has always been within you. Not in another book. Not in another mentor, strategy, or app. Not in someone else's approval or validation. It's in you. It always was. Because the power to create the life you dream of isn't something you earn. It's something you remember. You were born with it. Before the fear. Before the noise. Before the world convinced you to shrink, to fit in, to settle. Somewhere along the way, you forgot. But now you've remembered. And now, everything becomes a choice. You choose who you are every moment. Not just once, but again and again and again. You choose whether to lead with love or hide in fear. You choose whether to trust the vision or run from the unknown. You choose whether to honor your truth or bury it beneath other people's expectations. And with every choice, you're creating momentum. Building belief. Becoming the future you used to only imagine. Not perfectly. Not instantly. But fully, step by step, breath by breath. So don't wait. Don't wait for someone to give you permission. Don't wait for the fear to disappear. Don't wait for the right time, because you are the right time. This is your life. This is your moment. And no one else can live it for you. It won't always be easy. You'll still stumble. You'll still question. But now, you know the difference between being lost and simply being in progress. Because once you've awakened, you can never fully go back. And why would you? Why go back to playing small? When you've seen a glimpse of who you truly are, you are powerful. You are the dreamer and the builder. You are the answer you've been waiting for. So take the step. Say the thing. Start the project. Make the move. The world doesn't need another perfect person. It needs you fully alive, fiercely honest, and finally free.